Hey, speaking of Easter, that's what I thought I'd be at this morning. Easter, I had it all planned out. I talked to Melissa, hey, we got 4 weeks. This is perfect. We'll end Ruth. We'll go right into the Easter series. I got 4 times to really present Easter to the people, and I can't wait for it. And so I've had this in my mind. I've been thinking. But when we're in the book of Ruth, God really laid something in my heart, and it is stuck. If you had that happen, you can't stop thinking about it. You know, I sat down to plan out the series. I start seeing, okay, this is where we want to go, so we can do this, and I'm start working on it, and this one thing in my mind just keeps just hounding at me, and finally I was like, okay. So this week I sat down to prepare the message, and it's still, I'm like, okay, Easter chapter 1, Easter week 1, and so, but then the Lord just really grabbed on my heart and said, this is where I feel like you need to be. And so we're taking a week, we're going to go here, because this is what is really, really heavy on my heart. And we're going to be talking about being battle ready. That's where it's at. And so I want to start off with that by asking a question. I guarantee you probably did not think you'd be asked by the pulpit this morning, how is your arsenal this morning? How is your arsenal? You're thinking, where in the world are we going? But that's my question to you. How's your arsenal? The world we live in is nuts, isn't it? And thank goodness all of us made it through the toilet paper craze of 2020, right? I mean, who'd ever thought we'd do that? I remember we were in the midst of that. We were not prepared, with the Sam's value size toilet paper or any of that. And so we're looking for toilet paper. And I wasn't worried because I've got lots of long sleeve T-shirts in my closet. I'm good. I wasn't worried. But Melissa was a little worried. So we're looking, we stopped by our local grocery store, Apple Market there in Willard, and we went in. Of course, they have no toilet paper, so we do the shopping. And something catches a corner of my eye. I catch something back behind like the Cheez-It, behind the crackers. And I know what that is. And it was somebody stuck a roll, just a single roll. It was wrapped. It was not unwrapped. It was wrapped, back there. And I got so excited. I'm like, yes! I felt like a conquering hero, right? So I reach back there, I grab it, and I bring it out. And have you ever seen, you might not have seen, but they make these tiny little rolls for camping. And that's what it was. I mean, it was this little thing. It looked like it belonged in a dollhouse. I mean, like, what are you going to do with that? That's not going to touch anything. But I bought it. Because I was so excited. I found toilet paper. I couldn't believe it. And that's the world, right? It's a crazy world. And all kinds of stuff is hard to find right now. Even still, certain things are hard to find. I'll never forget the other day. I was at Sam's, walking through Sam's. And I saw Lysol. And I promise, I never thought as a guy I'd get excited about Lysol. But I saw Lysol. I took a picture of it and sent to Melissa. I said, look what I found. It's like a treasure hunter. I found Lysol. It's just little things that have gone absent from our life are now starting to come back. But it's still kind of weird, isn't it? Like car parts. I don't know if you do any of your own work, but car parts are hard to find right now, especially certain ones. I was looking for a part for our vehicle. Turns out they don't have any in the area. They have to request one from out of town. They got to wait a few weeks. They were telling me, listen, all the car part manufacturers shut down through the COVID thing, and they're just getting backed up, so everything is kind of behind, and so that's why you're having trouble finding parts. And so I don't know what you've had trouble finding, but it's still impacting us today. It still shows you how crazy it is, the world we live in. And I don't know if I'm an avid hunter, and I enjoy guns. I enjoy shooting guns. I enjoy working on guns. That's all my dad's fault. He loved that stuff. He got me into it. And if you're a hunter or a shooter, ammunition right now is worse than toilet paper in 2020. I mean, you can't find it. And when disc golf too. Disc golf, you can't find disc golf, right? But ammo, crazy. And my dad got me into this. And he got me to where I even like, now listen, I'm not a nut, but I do like making my own bullets. This is something my dad taught me. It's craftsmanship. And especially, you're like, why in the world would you make? Well, you can tweak with it a little bit, right? You can add a little extra powder, take a little powder out, depending on what you want. You'll do some long-range shooting. I mean, you can really customize around. And so it's just fun. It's fun to tinker with, right? You got to have your hobbies. But used to, and when you're making a bullet, you have different components. One part is called the primer. And the primer, when the firing pin hits that primer explodes, and it explodes the powder, and it propels the bullet out, right? Well, primers used to, a year ago, I could get one box, had 1,000 primers in it for $30. Today, I've seen them go as much as $200 a box. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Some of you are sitting there this morning like, are we talking about guns the whole morning? No, I would love to, but no, we're not. I promise I'm getting to the point. The point is, it's been so crazy. Everybody's panicking and stocking up on things. And I'll just tell you now, if before this all hit, if you didn't know the difference between a rifle and a shotgun, you're too late. If you're thinking, I'm going to prepare now, I'm going to collect, you just give up. Just give up, you're done, and just let all of us have the rest of the ammunition and guns, right? It's funny, right? I mean, it's where we live in. But right now, people are literally building their own armories right now. You may be one of those, This is a good excuse, guys, to buy guns. I've pulled that one before. I pulled it in Obama era. I told my wife, listen, baby, they might be doing away with this gun. This is my last chance. I got one in stock, right? I sold it, and she bought it, and I got a new gun out of the deal. But listen, we've used that, haven't we? And we get this panic, and we get this scared today. And so today, the whole story today, I want to ask you, how is your armory? How is your stock? What are you doing in preparing for what's going on? People are preparing for the what ifs today, right? What if something happens? What if we have civil war? What if they try to take our Second Amendment away? And all these people are preparing for the what if, and it's crazy. But here's the thing you need to understand. If you're a Christian, you need to understand this morning. There are no what ifs. We are in a war. We are in a spiritual battle right this second. God has called us to fight an ongoing battle against darkness. Yet so often Christians, we're just skipping through life and ignoring the battle all around them. What we do is we live in our perfect little house with our white picket fence, right? And we go about our business of maybe doing some DIY work on the house, right? We're getting new floors, we're taking care of the walls, we're painting stuff, we're even getting quotes on windows because the world outside is so loud, so crazy. The battle going on outside is so crazy. We don't want to block that noise, so maybe some triple pane pillows would be great, but windows would be even better, and maybe something to block out the noise. And so we're doing all we can, and we're living in our own little place, taking care of our own, and we're ignoring the battle outside our own home. We're so focused on ourselves, our little world, we choose to ignore the fact that we are in the middle of a battle this morning. If you walked in here, if you got breath in your lungs, you're in the middle of a battle, and maybe you're choosing to ignore it or not, but you're in the middle of a battle. 2 Chronicles 10, 3 through 4. 2 Corinthians, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. 2 Corinthians 10, 3 through 4. For though we walk in the flesh, we're not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. For though we walk in the flesh, we're not waging war according to the flesh. We are in the middle of a war. This is not something pastor made up for a good sermon. This is biblical. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 19. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against the flesh and blood. Come on, there it is. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand firm, stand therefore. Having fastened on the belt of truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith with which you can extinguish the flaming darts of the evil one. And take the helmet of salvation and sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying at all times in the Spirit with all power and supplications. To that end, keep alert. Keep alert with all perseverance, making supplications for the saints. Whether you realize it or not, there is a battle going on in your life. Some of you have chosen not to recognize it, and look how this plays out. When you choose not to realize, not to recognize that there's a battle going on in your world, in your life, what happens is you say, well, you just chalk it up to, well, it's just something I'll get over. You say, well, that's just something, I can handle. I can control this. Oh, that's just a part of life. That just happens. There's a habit you can't get over. Oh, that's just the way it is. You're living with something. Oh, that's just who I am. No. This morning, we need to recognize that there's spiritual battle going on. There's a battle for your mind and there's a battle for your soul. So that's why I ask you again this morning, how is your armory? Are you stocked up? Or are you not prepared for the battle that you're in at this present moment? If you're not prepared, it's too late. And we don't recognize what's happening to us. You find yourself in a middle battle and you have no weapons with you. I want this morning to help you start stocking up your armory. I want you to have the resources you need to go to battle. Because whether you want to admit it or not, you're in a battle. I don't want you to be caught off guard without any defense, without any weapons. So the first place I want to start this morning and start building your armory is I want to start with the belt of truth. Some of you are like, what? You're expecting like a grenade launcher, the fully automatic weapons or something really stout. You want something, let's start with a tank maybe, or a belt of truth. That's where we're starting this morning. Because the belt plays a much more important role than you think. When the Romans attired, their belt held all their weapons. So it was really the foundation of who they are. And that's why I believe Paul starts with the belt of truth. Because this needs to be the foundation of our armory. And this is why it's so important. Can you show that picture for us this morning? This is why we're starting with the belt of truth. This picture right here. Because who is our enemy? The devil. The devil is a what? The devil is a liar this morning. So that's why we start with the belt of truth, because the devil is liars. So often we become trapped in a self-made prison. Why? Because we believe the lie the enemy tells us. This picture. If you've never been around horses, that horse, horses twitch a little bit. And if it was ever to twitch, if a fly got on its back or something, it shook, that chair would be gone, right? That horse could sit on that chair and it'd be 1,000 little plastic splinters, right? And so that's why when you look at this picture, it's comical because they've trained that horse to believe the lie. They've trained that horse to believe, maybe they started off with a strong stick or something, or somewhere, some mounting harness or something that was maybe a car or a truck. Maybe they tied something strong. And they've trained this horse so anytime it gets tied up, it can't move. And so throughout this horse's life, they switched it. They took the truck, they took the bar away, something, they took it away, and they replaced it with a chair. So now this horse believes the lie that it cannot move, so the horse therefore does not move. The horse has voluntarily made itself a prisoner. Why? Because it believed the lie. It believed a lie that chair can hold that horse, which is utterly ridiculous. But it works. You buy into the lie and you believe that there's a lock on the door. In reality, the lie is the only thing holding you back. That stupid chair is the only thing holding you back. So that's why this morning we're going to start with truth. Because we're going to replace the lie with truth. Think about it. Why can't you get freedom from that habit? Why don't you feel connected with God? Why do you continue to make bad choices? Why are you overcome with fear? Because we forget about the fact that we are at war. And so these things take root in our heart because we don't look at it as we're in war. If somebody confronts you, road rage, whatever, the grocery store, you cut in line, whatever, somebody confronts you, you know you're in the middle of it, right? I mean, their tempers are flaring, they're red, they're hot, they're in your face. You know you're in a battle. What the enemy does, he likes to plant these little seeds of doubt in our minds. It says, you know what, you'll never kick that habit. So you come one Sunday morning, you come to the altar, you say, Lord, I'm laying this habit down. Tuesday, boom, you're back in the habit. You're like, what happened? You try it again. You say, Lord, I'm not going to do this no more. And you do it again. What happens? Pretty soon you start believing the lie that you can't get free, that you're just going to deal with this the rest of your life. I don't really feel connected to God, Pastor. I come, I pray, I just don't. Pretty soon you give up. You don't even pray no more. You don't even read your word no more. You just come and sit. You believe the lie that you're not connected to God. You continue to make bad decisions. You continue to be overwhelmed with fear, and it just this is just who I am, Pastor. I've always dealt with this. I always deal with this. It's something I'm used to. I just gotta. This is part of my life now. I'm a fearful person. I'm an anxious person. You tell yourself the lie enough, and you become that person. And we forget that we are at war, and we think, well, that's just who I am. We forget the devil wants to kill, the devil wants to steal, the devil wants to destroy. So we go into battle without any weapons, singing, this is just who I am. This is who I am. This is who I always be, and I will not change. This is a part of my life. I am just a fearful person. I am just a negative person. I'm not good enough. And we believe the lies of the enemy. And therefore we imprison ourselves in the prison. We shut the door. The door is unlocked. We can leave any time. But because we believe the lies of the enemy, we put ourselves in this prison. I have no talents. There's nothing special about me. We don't recognize that we're in the middle of a spiritual battle. So therefore we do nothing about it. Okay, we're good. Well, I'll handle this on my own. I'll take care of it. I'm strong. I'm a man. I can do this. I don't know what it is for you this morning. But I know my own life. The devil plants these seeds of doubts that I'm not good enough. When at times when I'm by myself, I'm in my office, I'm studying, I'm reading, and that's when those little seeds of doubt start to pop up. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you even doing? You're not, you know who you are. You're not near good enough. You don't know the word good enough. You don't know theology good enough. Well, shoot, you can't even say the words half the time right. And so I start thinking on these things, and guess what happens? I find myself in a low place, thinking this is just who I am. And I forget in that moment that I'm in spiritual battle, that the enemy has come and feed me lies to me and saying, this is who you are. And I forget that I'm at war, so I don't do nothing. I stand there and I take it. This is why it's so crucial that we become aware of the fight that we're in. Ephesians chapter 6:12, it says, we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies. That's what makes it tough. Give me something to shoot and I can shoot it. But the devil comes, plant these seeds of doubt, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in dark world, against evil spirits in heavenly places. So we just chalk our struggles up to life. This just happens. But we need to recognize our fight against a spiritual enemy, and he's called the devil this morning. Like, Pastor, come on, you're being a little extreme. Come on, things just happen. Think about it. The devil loves when you choose to ignore what's really going on. Why? Because he can just keep feeding your mind with all kinds of lies. He plants those seeds of doubt. He plants those seeds of confusion, those seeds of worry, those seeds of fear, those seeds of anxiety, those seeds of depression. And when you choose to ignore it, those seeds have time to grow. Those seeds have time to take root in your life. And in that moment, Satan wins. He keeps you from God. He keeps you from the life that God has for you. He wants to separate you from the one that loves you the most. In that moment, when you start thinking about, this is my life, this is just who I am, he wins every time because we refuse to recognize that we are in a battle. We're not engaging in a battle. We're sitting back. He wants to rob you of your joy. He wants to rob you of any fulfillment you can find in life. And he has a perfect way of doing this, simply by lying to you. Satan is a deceiver, and he plans to defeat you by his lies. Look at John 8:44. There is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of all lies. That's who he is. That's what he wants to do. He wants to deceive you. He wants you to buy into the lie. He wants you to stay strapped to that plastic chair the rest of your life. Every day we're engaged in a spiritual battle where Satan is feeding us lie after lie after lie, and he's just hoping that one of them is going to take root in your life. Think about the way the lies work. If you're successful in life, this little voice comes along and says, you really are good. I mean, you're just talented, you're gifted, you're just, man, you really, you're actually a little bit better than that person. I know he's your boss, but really, I mean, in all actuality, you got more talent and you're pinky than he does. You should be the one, right? And we start buying into lies. You're like, well, I am pretty good. We start buying in, don't we? But then it's also, the opposite is also true. When we fail, we try something new, we fail. Guess what? I'm the biggest loser in the world. I mean, I can't believe I took a shot at that. I can't believe I thought that would be a good idea, right? And we become our own worst enemies. Why? Because these little seeds of doubts start taking you to places you never thought you'd go. Well, I'm just no good. I'm never going to try anything again. That's just I'm just a failure. That's just who I am. In that moment, Satan locks you in that prison of lies. Here's why we need to wake up and realize that we're in a spiritual battle. Because you are not his prisoner of war unless you choose to be. I want you to hear that again this morning. You are not a prisoner of war unless you choose to be. Unless you walk into the jail, close the jail door, and say, I'm here. Which, how ridiculous does that sound? But we do that to ourselves every day, right? Because we fail to recognize we're in a spiritual battle. It's just life. Baloney. You're in a battle. You're in a battle for your soul. And the best way to do that is to feed you lies that you end up believing. You believe the lie. You believe the lie that you're not good enough. You believe the lie that, you made too many mistakes. Or you believe the lie that God doesn't care. You can never break that habit. So we live life as though the lie is true. You live life as though the lie is true. You live life as though that plastic chair can hold you down. Why is this so important? Because if you believe the lie, it's going to hold you back from doing what God has for you. The lie will keep you living in fear. The lie will keep you living in anxiety. The lie will keep you living in shame. The lie will keep you from joy. The lie will keep you from freedom if you believe the lie. Many of you know Houdini. You know the word Houdini. You know, he is a magician. And he was very successful magician. See, this is where it is. Magician. He's not a musician. He might have been, I don't know. But he was a magician. Well, he had this habit when he was getting started. He created his own buzz. And by creating buzz, he would come to town. He was going to do a show in the town. But the first thing he would do when he came to town, go to a local jail. He'd have the jailer lock him up, and then he would escape. So everybody in town would be like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to go see a show, right? And so he did this in town to town, And one jailer heard he was coming to town. All right, here comes Houdini. And so the jailer had an idea. He was going to try to fool Houdini. Houdini comes to town. The jailer closes the jail cell, puts a key in. But when he puts the key in, he turns it the wrong direction. And so everybody's watching, and Houdini is struggling to get out of the jail. He can't get out. He works his magic. He tries the door, and it just won't move. He works his magic, tries the door, and it won't move. He gets frustrated. He could not escape. And so finally, the jailer revealed his secret. Houdini believed the lie, and the lie held him captive. What was the lie? So the jailer would shut the door, he put the key in, he turned it, but he turned it the wrong way. Reality was, Houdini was never locked in the cage. So every time he went to work his magic on a lock, in reality, he was locking himself into the cage. And that's why when he tried the door, it was locked. The jailer would come along, he would unlock it, and Houdini would try it again and lock himself back in. Houdini believed the lie, and the lie held him captive. We believe the lie. We believe the lie that this is all I will ever be. This is the only person I will be. I can never overcome this. I will never be leading because I'm not good enough. I will never teach a Sunday school class because you don't know what I've done. I will never do. We believe the lie, and the lie holds us captive. So how do we use this belt of truth? 2 Corinthians 10, 3-5. We read it before and we read it again. For though we walk in flesh, we're not waging war according to flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. I want you to hang on to that. For our weapons of our warfare are not flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. So what do? We wage war. We engage in this battle. We recognize we're in a battle. We recognize we're in a war. And we recognize it's time to engage the enemy. We do no longer ignore that we are in a battle. The lies that we've allowed to take root in our lives have become strongholds. Look at verse 4 again. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. Come on, somebody should be excited this morning. Some of you have believed a lie so long, it's become a fortress in your life. It's become a stronghold in your life. You believe the lie of this is who you are. This is all you'll ever be. You'll be stuck with this forever. You'll be stuck single forever. You won't ever have another relationship. You won't ever be financially free. You won't ever know God like he knows God or she knows God. You won't ever have this relationship. You won't ever have, and you believe the lies. And that lie has become a stronghold, so now you accept it. You tell somebody about fear, or they're anxious about something, and then you just follow it up with, well, but that's just who I am. I mean, that's just, I've always, and my mom was this way, I'm this way, and so you just kind of play it off like this, and you don't recognize that this is a stronghold in your life. This has become a fortress in you. So we need to bring down some of these strongholds. But some of you believe that lie for so long, it seems like an impossible task this morning. You perceive yourself as weak when it comes to the lies of your own life. Oh, but there's another weapon for us. And here we're going to build our armory. And you think, well, we start with the little stuff. We start with the 22s and stuff. No, we're just going straight to the big guns now, right? We're going to the big guns. Look at Ephesians chapter 1, verses 19 to 20. I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believed him. This is, look at this, here's the big guns. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead. That's what you and I have available to us this morning. That's our armory. Come on. That's what's available to you and I. You have a supernatural resurrection power at your hand to transform your thoughts, to tear down these strongholds that have taken root in your mind. That's what you have available to you. If God's power can take Jesus from death to light, then whatever stronghold you've got going on doesn't stand a chance, does it, this morning? I want to ask our worship team to come on up. I need to wind us down. So what lie have you been living as if it's a truth this morning? What lie have you been living as a truth? You're not good enough. Oh, you made too many mistakes. You're too far gone. You're not talented enough. What lie has taken you hostage this morning? What lie is keeping you from taking a step of faith? What lie has stolen your joy this morning? The problem has been we've been ignoring the fact that we are in a spiritual battle. This is not just life. Don't chalk it up. This just happens. This is just the way it is. Baloney. You're in a spiritual battle. You need to recognize that you're in a spiritual battle, and you need to get engaged this morning. We choose to ignore the fact that we're in a battle, that there's strongholds in our life, and we don't get engaged, and therefore we rely on our own power. When you say, that's just who I am, when you say that's just life, when you say that thing just happens, what you're saying is you're relying on your own power, your own strength. I can fix this. I can work hard. I can get another job. I can work hard at this relationship. I can make it right. I can heal these wounds. I can get our kids back. I can do this. I can do that. You're relying on your own power. You know, when I was younger, my grandfather always made a garden. It was just a hobby garden, but it was like a 2-acre hobby garden. I mean, it was ridiculous. Cousins would always work it. I mean, we loved it. We loved it. We loved it. My grandfather passed away, so one year I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a garden in my backyard. I was just a teenager and didn't really know any better, so I grabbed a shovel. I go back out and back and start digging. Before you judge me, this is Oklahoma. You can dig Oklahoma without hitting a rock, right? And so I'm digging. I work all day. In a day, I've got like a 5-foot by 5-foot piece of dirt dug up. I look back, I am so defeated. I'm like, that took a lot of work. I was using my own power, my own strength. Next day, my uncle shows up. In the back of his truck, he has a tiller, a gas-powered tiller. Like, where was you yesterday, right? We carried that puppy out. I mean, I make a huge spot, like this section of chair spot, within minutes, because I've got a tiller. Why? Because I rely on it and not my own power. We rely on our own power to do things that we're in a battle about, but you don't realize that you're in a spiritual battle so that your power is good enough when it's not. We have to rely on a power that's higher than us, a God that's bigger than us. We got to rely on a power that we do not possess, that we need help for. And as a child of God, we have access to a power that's greater than all of us. All we have to do is ask Him to reveal the lies that we've believed. Ask Him this morning, what lies has taken root in your own mind? What do you believe in? And ask Him to fill us with His truth this morning. I want you to just go ahead and stand this morning. What lies have taken root in your life? What strongholds have you been battling? Maybe for years you've been battling some strongholds. Maybe for years you believe the lie of the enemy saying, this is who you are. I want to ask you this morning, would you get engaged? Would you get into the battle? Because once we get in the battle, we stand, we say, this is who I am. This is who God created me to be. I am a child of God. That same power that He rose Christ from the grave is living inside of me this morning. This is who I am. Start recognizing that you're in a spiritual battle and say no more. No more to the lies. Stop believing the enemy and start believing this is who God says you are this morning. This morning we're going to open these altars because I believe God is wanting to break some strongholds this morning. That some of you let this take root in your life and you think this is all I'll ever be. Stop believing the eyes of the enemy. Understand you're in a spiritual battle. Let God spiritually take hold of this by His spiritual power this morning. A power you do not possess, but that He has given you this morning. Engage in that. Engage in the fight. Let Him fight for you this morning. This morning, if you're in a battle, I want you to come down, make your altar. We want to pray with you. Because we believe God's going to break some strongholds this morning. Would you come? Would you come?